Good evening, all. It's Thursday, April 4th, 2024. City Council meeting. I call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Councilman Becker,
Here.
Councilman Jekyll,
Here.
Councilman Lesko here,
Here.
Councilman Schultz,
Here.
President Johnson.
Here. Item 3, public hearings. Tonight we have none. Item 4, public comment. The city council will receive comments from city residents. Comments are generally limited to 3 minutes per individual. Anyone wishing to speak is required to sign up in advance or state the following items for the record when called upon: name, address, subject matter, and contact information. No action will be taken on any public comments unless the item also exists elsewhere on the agenda. Note for Zoom members, if you wish to speak, you should hold up your virtual hand and you should be muted until called upon to speak. First speaker, Shannon Hugh.
You state your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Shannon Huff. I live at 712 Frederick Avenue. Today I come before you with a sense of urgency as we address the recent series of dog attacks in our neighborhood. These incidents have left us deeply saddened and concerned for the safety of our residents, both human and animal. It is imperative we take swift and decisive action to prevent any further harm. In the past month, 2 individuals and a dog have been attacked unprovoked in public by the same unrestrained dog. These tragic events highlight the urgent need to enforce the regulations outlined in Chapter 10, Sections 2 and 4 of the Sydney ordinances to remove the animal from the community and revoke the permit for animal custody for the property owner responsible at 727 Mesmer. The circumstances of the attacks meet all the city ordinance definitions to qualify the animal as a public nuisance, a vicious animal, and requires immediate action to be taken. Furthermore, the circumstances underscore the necessity of holding negligent pet owners accountable for their actions. As a dog owner, I consistently work to ensure my dogs are never a threat to anyone and that we are respectful and responsible owners. Given the severity of the dog's aggression and the repeated incidents under its ownership, regardless of the promises over and over that this will not happen again, we firmly believe the safety of our community must be our top priority. Therefore, we advocate for the humane euthanasia of the dog in question. This decision is not made lightly, but is necessary to prevent further harm to innocent individuals and animals. As an avid animal lover, this is not an easy request. However, we do not know the history of this dog as it is a rescue. Additionally, we must ensure that the owner of the dog faces appropriate consequences for their failure to control their pet and restrict their ability to obtain similar pets in the future. Negligent ownership cannot be tolerated, and those who put others at risk must be held accountable under the law. By enforcing consequences for irresponsible behavior, we send a clear message that the safety of our community is paramount. As we move forward, let us unite in our commitment to creating a safer environment for all residents of Fort Atkinson by upholding the regulations and enforcing the penalties outlined in Chapter 10 and holding negligent pet owners accountable.
Your 3 minutes have unfortunately expired. Next, we have Shad Yankee.
My name is Shad Yankee and I live at 717 Zafke, also in the vicinity and close to the pet owner and dog in question here. I, of course, was alerted to the situation directly after the incident. And, you know, I was asked for help and sought out by the individual who was, you know, beside themselves on, you know, some of the behavior that the dog displayed that she was, you know, caught off guard by. Of course, when you're, you know, you adopt a dog and the only thing that you've ever witnessed is it cuddling with your children and being in the house and, you know, being, you know, you have no idea that these things can transpire. You know, I think that as the night progresses and people start to talk about their grievances here. We're gonna hear a lot of, inflammatory, verbiage, vicious, things on that nature. With all due respect to most everyone in the room, I doubt very highly anyone has had the opportunity to actually work or handle a true vicious dog. And that's a good thing. I have handled the dog personally myself. And I don't believe he's vicious. He does and has displayed a couple behavioral issues, what I would like to see very much addressed. And I would also like to see the person, the owner of the dog, take some measures to be a little more responsible, make sure that, he is indeed, muzzled and there's a proper, fencing for the dog and such things like that. But I believe with proper training and proper thing, he can go a long way. And I, for one, many people in this room know that I'm a huge dog advocate, participated in rescue for years. I have put my hands on and worked with hundreds of dogs, and I don't believe Frisbee is, vicious in any manner. If put in the wrong circumstances, just about any dog can be a problem. But unfortunately, sometimes we fail to look at the big picture and dissect each individual case instead of, we just like to read the headlines and move on. And I don't think that that's the best thing to do in this case. And I'll let the owner speak for herself as to the, steps she's taking. But in my eyes, it's a step in the right direction.
Thank you. Next, we have Donald.
So I'll try to be brief and quick, but it's gonna be difficult for me. But I'm the guy that you guys need here because I'm a bite specialist and this is what I do for a living. Shad called me in the other
I'm
day
sorry,
on the
I need
6th.
you to state your name and address, and we need you to
215
do it.
Sheldon Street, Cambridge, Wisconsin.
I'm sorry.
215 Sheldon Street, Cambridge,
Okay.
Wisconsin.
Do you own property within the city of Fort Atkinson?
No, I do not.
So our ordinance restricts that speakers at our public comment, they have to be owners of property within the city of Fort Atkinson
I
or
do.
residents.
I was called in on as a specialty case on this and it's unfortunate because you guys you need to hear what I have to say because I'm the guy that knows.
This
what all you
isn't a
don't.
hearing tonight. It's not a hearing, but
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Robin Lehman.
My name is Robin Lehman. I live at 727 Mesmer Street here in town. I cannot express enough how truly sorry I am for the incidents that have happened. They were unexpected. I never in a million years thought that this would happen. I know my neighborhood has a lot of concerns about the safety of their children, their own safety. I completely understand that. I have children as well. I have contacted Lemke Fence. They came out today and gave me an estimate for brand new fencing, which would include my front yard as well as going down the side of my house and fully enclosing my backyard. It will be double gated, meaning there will be a gate on my porch. There will be a gate ahead of that, and then the main gate coming into the yard. So that should help eliminate any dog breakouts. As far as my kids go, they're not allowed to walk any of my dogs at all, permanently, ever. If that is a concern, I hope no longer that it will be, because they're not allowed. I do have a muzzle. If the dog is to go outside, it has to wear it, even just to go to the bathroom, go on walks, it has to wear it. I have tags that go on the leash that say, don't pet me in training. I need space. I mean, obviously the dog is licensed. It's had its rabies shots. I have proof of that if you would like to see. I don't know what else I can do, but if there's anything else that I can do to ensure the safety of the community, I'm doing all I can right now that I know of. I just ask that you don't euthanize him, please. My kids love this dog. So do I, but I guess that's all I got. Thank you.
Next, we have Kay and Alan Goldberg. You're not going to speak? Okay. Next, I have Sandra.
My name is Sandra Free. I live at 810 Mesmer Street in Fort Atkinson. I'm not going to repeat what's already been said about the situation. I'll add my concerns. After the first dog bite in the middle of February of 2024, I went to the Fort Atkinson Police Department. I was very concerned about my safety, our neighbor's safety, my animal safety. And I met with a police officer. I shared with her that municipal chapter 10 in the animal ordinances states every vicious animal as determined by the licensing authority shall be securely muzzled or caged when off the premises. The officer assured me they'd take it up with their superiors and follow up on the issue. After that, I was walking my dog. I ran into the dog's owner, as presented herself, Robin. I told her I was really worried about the dog's behavior and that if she wouldn't muzzle the dog, then that would take care of the concern. She didn't respond to me in words, and she did not muzzle the dog. So then on March 31st, the dog owner's children were out playing with the dog on a leash in the street. The dog decided to chase after another neighbor. You know, the leash was pulled out of the children's hand. The dog bit the neighbor. The dog bit their dog. It states in the ordinance, it shall be unlawful for any person within the city to own, harbor, or keep any dog which assaults or attacks any person. That dog has attacked 2 people in the last 2 months. It seems like the ordinance is written to protect its citizens from this type of harm. It's difficult for me to imagine that the city seems to be failing to take appropriate action. Having been notified at the police station that dog should be muzzled, having spoken to the owner, I thought the dog should be muzzled. Had the dog been muzzled, we wouldn't be here today. So I'd just like the city to follow its own ordinances and to protect the citizens that live here. Thank you.
Would anyone on a Zoom care to offer comment?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I do have a comment. May I proceed?
Yep.
My name is John Donahue, residing at 1550 Ravine Street, Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin. As you know, the spring election was held on Tuesday. Many of Fort Atkinson's nearly 3,000 voters who cast ballots for Tuesday's election did so in person despite severe weather conditions. Citizens with disabilities who voted in person on Tuesday faced challenges with our public right-of-way adjacent to the municipal building because of a lack of designated parking, and had to deal with the access problem by finding other non-designated parking during bad weather conditions. In September 2023, the federal government in concert with the Americans with Disabilities Act, issued guidelines for the accessibility of pedestrian facilities in the public right-of-way to ensure such facilities are readily accessible to and usable by pedestrians with disabilities. Access rules address such things as the number of on-street parking spaces to be designated as by permit only. The city of Fort Atkinson makes accommodations for designating parking, but based on what we saw on Tuesday, are we doing enough in this area? Getting back to Tuesday, my request is that for special events such as, but not limited to, Tuesday's election activity at our municipal building, our police department will set up temporary designated parking spaces adjacent to the municipal building, and this will accommodate persons with disabilities. This will hopefully minimize most of the access difficulties witnessed earlier this week during spring election, regardless of rain or shine. This request has no cost to our taxpayers. However, the ordinance committee may wish to consider amendment to our parking ordinance under Article 8, Section 94-429, entitled Handicapped Parking. If there's a compelling reason why this request cannot be performed, our elected city officials should let that reason be known. Thank you.
Any other Zoom members wish to make comments? Okay, first call for any other public comment. Second call for any other public comment. Third and final call for public comment. Public comment is closed. Next, we move on to item 5, the consent agenda. The consent agenda is outlined below, is hereby presented for action by the city council. Items may be removed from the consent agenda on the request of any one council member. Items not removed may be adopted by one action without debate. Removed items may be taken up either immediately after the consent agenda or placed on a later on the agenda at the discretion of the council president.
I move to approve the consent agenda as listed, items 5A through 5I.
Second. Any other debate? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Right here. You're gonna want to miss one. Item 6, petitions, requests, and communications. We have a presentation, an annual tourism report.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having us today. So I'm Shauna Wesley. I am the executive director at the Fort Atkinson Area Chamber of Commerce. And so we're really excited to be here to offer our annual tourism recap. So again, the tourism and marketing manager is a part of our team at the chamber. If you can go ahead and advance the slide for me, that would be amazing. Thank you. Awesome. And so they have their office in that building with us. We had 2 tourism managers with us in 2023, Holly Tierney and then Danny Fugate. Both of those ladies left to pursue other opportunities. So we had one person who left to go back to school, and then Danny got the chance to follow her dream job and go ahead and become a flight attendant. So based on that, we actually have a brand new tourism manager starting with us. So this is Mackenzie Reinbold. So I wanted to introduce her to all of you. Mackenzie, if you want to just share a little about yourself.
Yeah, hi guys. So I'm Mackenzie Reinbold, and I recently graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire back in December with a degree in business marketing. And I live just up the river in Jefferson, and I've really just grown to love the area. It's so beautiful. And I'm just really excited to use my marketing skills as well as my graphic design and social media skills to help contribute to the community. And I'm really excited to be working with you guys.
So Mackenzie just started with us on Monday. So the fact that we're like, hey, come do a city council presentation, that already makes her a rock star. I love it. Again, if you could advance the slides for me, that'd be great. All right. So again, if you're wondering, what do we do? Collaboration is one of the biggest things that we do. We work with our city manager. I actually get to have meeting tomorrow. Actually, I have the next one scheduled. We also work with the Tourism Commission. So we have about 5 folks on that, and Mackenzie has yet to meet all of those wonderful humans. And then there's the Jefferson County Area Tourism Council that we also work with to work on county-wide tourism. So it kind of helps us decide what we're going to pursue as Fort Atkinson. Assets, of course, for us include our close proximity to Milwaukee and Madison, our natural amenities like the river, our historical and cultural significance like our dairy history, and then our vibrant downtown. So last year, one of the big things we did was we started a wedding expo back up. It had been many years since we had had one of those. And weddings are actually considered a big initiative for Jefferson County because of our proximity to Milwaukee and Madison. We see a lot of folks who not only come here when they're attending a wedding, but also we have folks choosing who don't necessarily live in the Fort Atkinson area to choose Fort Atkinson as a destination for their wedding. We have great amenities here. It's more affordable than some other areas. And then it's very exciting because we also do see some people who get married here and then choose to stay and settle here and raise their families here. So it's very cool. We also rolled out a new logo. So you can see the Explore Fort Atkinson there, got a new website, new social media presence, and we're already up to over 1,000 followers, and that's in only a year. We created some fun little giveaways like keys to the city. Those are actually bottle openers. They don't really unlock anything here, just in case you were worried. Go ahead and advance me. And then we also did have bike committee meetings. We have a huge biking initiative here because, of course, we have such lovely bike trails. We also got to meet with several bloggers. So like Danelle Gay, for example, the Traveling Cheesehead, I got to attend and kind of rep Fort Atkinson there. So that was really cool. And then Right on the River is a partnership we have with Friends of Lorene Niedeker. Because of course, Lorene is huge for us in this community, and getting to celebrate her birthday every year in May, kind of with different fun little things. And we have that going on again this year. So we'll keep talking about that in a little while. Fort Farmers Market promotions, just making sure that we have really good, strong presence because it's over 20 years now that that's been around, and just making sure we get lots of folks out to shop at the market. We also had the opportunity to do a presentation at the state fair representing the county and then representing specifically Fort Atkinson. So I'm a former teacher. I got to put that hat back on and play some fun games with folks who were attending the state fair. We also held the Rhapsody Free Music Festival. And that day was a huge day for Fort Atkinson. So we had the base duck races, there was the Lions tour de fort, and we held a run that day, and we had the music festival. So clearly there was nothing to do that day. So it was a huge win for us. And again, we'll be doing that again this year. Also, we partnered with the Beautification Council to work on the cow parade, really getting to see that full range of from when artist Larry Schultz first started that project to when the cows were first unveiled on October 14th. It was like the grossest day on the planet. It was so rainy that day. But just being in that room and hearing people tell stories about their grandparents and the farms and all of the really neat things that are a part of our history here in Fort Atkinson and how we actually have international impact on the dairy industry was very moving for me. And then it actually created attention in the area. And so NBC 15's news team came out and covered those statues. So it was a real early morning, like 4 a.m. Got to go around to some of the different statues and really showcase those. So that was really neat. We held the fall decorating contest. There's also decorating contests that run for the entire county that are like kind of related to holiday. And then we did do the Santa bike ride again. We had more than double the participants this year. So again, we're really excited to see that run again in the future. And of course, here we are in 2024. So we've already held our wedding expo for this year, very successful. More folks came out for that. March Madness just ended on March 31st. So that's where we're kind of trying to encourage folks to go shop local. We're rolling out our new Fort Atkinson area tourism guide. So that's one of the big initiatives that Mackenzie has that she's really delving into right now. We'll be rolling out Fort Farmers Market. This coming weekend is actually the last weekend of winter market. And then we'll be starting those summer markets on May 4th. And of course, it's going to be Star Wars themed because May the 4th be with you. And then right on the river will occur the next week. So again, there'll be things at the market as well as at some of our local businesses. We have some 4th of July festivities. Of course, the museum always hosts the big ice cream social. There is a generals game that day. And then we're also hosting a glow run at night. So that'll be super fun. And again, Rhapsody with the lemonade day and the music festival and all those things. So then we'll see what Mackenzie keeps deciding on for things that she wants to embrace. So we appreciate your continued support. We're so glad to be your partners. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them.
I'd like to welcome you, Mackenzie. You'll be a good team member with us.
She will be. Awesome.
One quick question,
course.
with, as we become more of a destination for people further away for weddings and other, types of events, like how is our availability of, hotel space right now?
Right now, we feel that the hotels are doing a really good job of being able to house those that are here when they come to visit. But I do know that we've had some renovations occurring at Holiday Inn, so they're really excited to have all of their rooms back and available to house everybody.
I just want to share quick. I got to be one of the interviewers who interviewed Mackenzie, and we were really impressed and really excited about the skills you're going to bring here to Fort Atkinson. So it's great to have you on board officially.
It's a huge win for us. Thank you.
We're good.
Awesome. Thank
Thank you.
you. Have a great night.
Next item, 6B, review and possible action on a proclamation recognizing Telecommunicators Week in the city of Fort Atkinson. Chief Bump.
Hello, everyone. April 14th marks the first day of the National Telecommunicator Week for 2024. Telecommunicators are our 911 dispatchers here in Fort Atkinson. We're pretty lucky to have our own dispatch center and be a primary 911 answering point for our community. Our dispatchers, we have 4 full-time and I think 5 part-time right now. So we have a good group of 911 dispatchers that support our police department, our fire department, and our EMS. They also answer a lot of other phone calls for other departments within the city. Very hardworking group. I would say that our dispatchers are our first responders. They're the ones that answer the call and then get everybody going where they need to go, support officers, fire and EMS while en route to the call, support them during the call, and then help them complete after the call. I'm excited to be able to help present the proclamation for the telecommunicators on behalf of the city council. And tonight I have our most senior dispatcher, Sandy Hopman, here to accept it on behalf of all of our dispatchers here in Fort Atkinson. Thank you so much for helping make it just a little bit more of an important week for our dispatchers. I appreciate it.
Mr. President, I would move to approve the proclamation recognizing April 14th through the 20th as Telecommunicators Week in the city of Fort Atkinson.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7, resolutions and ordinances. The first reading of an ordinance amending section 22-262 and 22-263 relating to direct sellers. Ms. Everett.
Thank you. A direct sellers, also known as a solicitor's permit, is issued to requesters following a background check. This allows them to go door to door with residential properties. We've had many direct sellers over the past few years, and it's gotten a little more popular, which has presented an opportunity for us to look at the ordinance to make a few revisions to better care for and manage those permits, but then also respectfully take care of our residents when we have a couple of concerns. So there's five sections that I'm going to talk about today briefly. This was reviewed at the ordinance committee and it was recommended to council. The first section I want to talk about is section 22-262 subsection E. Right now, the fee is included in the direct seller ordinance. If council remembers, a few years ago, we made the transition to remove fees from the ordinance and have them adopted and reviewed annually by the fee resolution. So this request to remove the fee just goes along with other licenses and permits that we do issue. Again, this is a fee that's reviewed annually by our city council and adopted with the fee resolution along with the budget. So again, this just removes the fee specifically from the ordinance. Second subsection G changes the authority for revocation or suspension, and it allows the city manager or his or her designee to suspend or revoke the licenses. Fortunately, we have had a few instances where we did have to revoke some licenses. So this allows the city manager to appoint either the police chief or myself if we have an issue where we need to revoke such permits. Third subsection J. This is something new that we had some great discussion at the ordinance committee, and this is creating a maximum number of permits per businesses. Now, these direct seller permits are issued per calendar year, so January through December. Right now, we do not have a max per business. Okay. We have seen a couple situations where a business would apply for 15 to 18 different permits, and at any given time, we would have those 15 to 18 individuals soliciting door to door. That's more officers than we have available at times should we have concerns, and of course, we want to be able to address any concerns if residents have. We felt 10 was the limit that we could kind of get on board and support with. I'm not sure if the council has comments on this one or if we want to wait till the end. Okay, the final is section 22-263 subsection I. This changes the hours that direct sellers are allowed to call upon a property. Currently, they're allowed to call between 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. The ordinance discusses the time you're not allowed. So the ordinance says you are not allowed to solicit 8 p.m. to 9 a.m. We would like to change that to not allow soliciting 7 p.m. to 9 a.m. So what we saw earlier this year when it was very unseasonable, whether in January, February, we did have solicitors that were visiting households. And if you all know, it gets dark a lot earlier. So when they were allowed to go up until 8 o'clock at night when it was dark out, it was a little discomforting for some residents when your doorbell would ring at 7:30 at night and it was dark out. Not everyone has great exterior lighting. They may not have a street light, so it kind of was just a little unnerving for them. So this is something I think is good for our community. Should we see this arise in the future and want to adjust it again, we always can. Council members, I'm happy to address any questions, concerns, or comments.
I thought when we discussed this was a real reasonable move to alter it to match what you just described.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing, limiting it to 10 people per business. You think the city of Fort really isn't that big of a city to have 10 people all out at once. So that's a good change there. And then last year we did see enough incidences that this does allow a lot easier fluctuation within the city. And
And there are times that we have some concerns. We've heard and seen them on social media. However, we address those concerns when there are calls to our police department, calls to our dispatcher, contact made to city staff. So if there's ever a concern for any resident for a door-to-door solicitor, always ask for their permit. They must have their permit with them. It is always on colored cardstock and it is always signed by me in pink ink. So it's very noticeable. But again, if there's concerns from residents, always ask for a permit and you can ask them to leave.
Yeah, I thought it was a good discussion at ordinance committee and I fully support these changes. I think tightening up the hours of solicitation is a good thing. So that people aren't being bothered when it's dark out. Like I had mentioned previously at ordinance, a few years ago, we had an issue where we had a rash of really aggressive sales tactics, and I think we tightened things up again then, and now it seems like we've had some of those issues again, so it makes sense to tighten things up even further, so.
I will add that all applicants have a background check, a thorough background check by our police department. So we want to make sure that anyone that is visiting our community and offering sales is a reputable business, but then also they're putting their best foot forward for their business.
Have we had any issues when a license has been revoked or suspended of them not adhering to that?
No, we've been very fortunate that when they were revoked, we relayed the message and they confirmed and they pulled from the city. So as mentioned, this is up for the first reading, so the council can recommend it to a second reading. There's certainly no rush. However, this is getting into the spring season. We have no pending applications right now for direct sellers.
Would move to direct the city manager to prepare this ordinance for a second reading at the April 16th, 2024 council meeting.
Second.
Any further debate? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8, reports of officers, boards, and committees. A city manager's report. Ms. Hausman.
Thank you. First, I would like everyone to help me welcome Ben Dayton as the city's new Parks and Recreation Director. He is over there. Ben is already a resident of the city and comes to us from the Lake Mills School District, where he served as the Recreation Director for many years. So welcome, Ben. He will have his first management team meeting tomorrow morning. He started on Monday, the 25th. And has already his elbows deep in a bunch of projects. So he's doing a great job and he keeps coming back every day. So we're pleased to have him. So welcome. I also want to congratulate and thank Clerk Ebert and Deputy Clerk Courtney Toom, and all of our election officials for another successful election on April 2nd. There were 2,969 voters, which is about 44% of the registered voters in the city. So that's great turnout for a spring election. I also want to thank our park staff for their assistance in election setup and cleanup. If you recall, when you vote, those mats that are on the floor that help protect our gym floor from all of the traffic and the chairs and all of that stuff, those are extremely heavy and they take quite a while to put down and then take back up. So we really appreciate Parks' contributions to that effort. Municipal Court Clerk Debbie Hayes celebrated her last day of work today with a retirement party at the police department. It was a great event. Lots and lots and lots of people came through to wish her congratulations. So I just want to publicly thank her and congratulate her on 45 years of employment with the city. And we all wish her the best in retirement. I attended a JCEDC and Thrive ED education session this morning in Jefferson. The session included a panel of workforce development and biotech experts who shared insights about how Wisconsin's biohealth tech hub designation will provide additional opportunities for Jefferson County. So I look forward to continuing to work with Thrive ED and bring some of the associated businesses, industry, and housing to Fort Atkinson. Progress continues on our Public Works and Parks Operations facility. During demolition of the north shed, the contractor found some asbestos. So now that has been abated and the north shed will be removed over the next week or so. And after that, it's going to really get exciting when the mass site excavation starts and pouring footings and foundation for the new building. So we are moving along swiftly with that project. Staff held our GIS kickoff meeting this week with the new county GIS specialist. Recall that in December, the City Council approved a memorandum of understanding with Jefferson County relating to a new GIS position that would serve the county, the city of Fort Atkinson, and the city of Watertown. Laura Scott has been hired in this role, and we look forward to working with her and expanding our mapping and data collection capabilities through the use of GIS. And finally, I know everybody would be very excited about this, but the compost site now is going to be open on Saturday, April 6th, starting at 9 a.m. So we did have a little bit of a lull in the request for that when there was snow on the ground. But now that the snow is gone, hopefully we'll get that open this weekend. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Tom, are there any restrictions that people should be aware of as to how big or how small or how much for the site, for the compost site?
No, we're ready to go. It's clean and clear and we'll take everything we took last year. So there's no, you want to bring a truckload of stuff down, bring it down. We'll take care of it for you.
Thank you.
And there's more information on the city's website if anybody does have specific questions that need to be answered there.
Moving on. Item 9, unfinished business. Tonight we have none. Item 10, new business. Item A, review and possible action relating to the purchase of a replacement emergency light bar from Reinert's Fire Equipment Service. Chief Peterson.
Good evening, everybody. We're here to request a new emergency light bar to replace a aging and going out of service bar. That's an original one to the vehicle we bought about 18 years ago. That light bar on the vehicle now is becoming unusable, and at that age, parts are hard to find. And it's an old technology with filament bulbs and moving parts, and not really conducive to what we need to do now. So our plan is to replace it with a new style LED light bar, which is much brighter, gives us much more warning capability. We will save the old light bar and start to use it for parts as other vehicles start experiencing the same issues. So it'll be done by Reinert's, which is our preferred vendor for emergency vehicles. So staff is recommending that the city council authorize to accept a quote from Reinert's to replace the emergency warning light bar for a cost not to exceed $8,722.30.
Question on the truck that's going on. How long does the city anticipate to keep this truck in service?
We're looking roughly about 25 years of vehicle now, so it's about another 7 years for that. With it being a new light bar and replace it, we'll be able to take that light bar off and put that on another vehicle.
I move to approve the purchase of a replacement emergency light bar from Reinert's Fire Equipment Service at a cost not to exceed $8,722.30.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 10B, review and possible action relating to 2023 Department of Natural Resources Annual Recycling Report. Mr. Selly.
Thank you. There's 2 times I talk about recycling. One time when I ask you to approve the grant that we apply for every year, and one time when I ask you to approve the report we provide in support of that grant. So this year, we recycled a total of 143 pounds of materials per capita. That exceeds the 106 pounds that are required in order for us to qualify for the grant. So that is good news. And we should be receiving that $35,000 that we put towards our recycling program from the DNR. So everything seems to be continuing in a good direction with respect to recycling. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about that. Riveting.
I'd move to approve the 2023 Department of Natural Resources Annual Recycling Report.
Second.
Any further debate? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 10C, review and possible action relating to 2023 year-end financial information. Ms. Hausman.
All right, thank you. Okay, so tonight we have our year-end financial report. The goals every year when I do this year-end financial report are to create efficiencies and avoid duplications in reporting. If you recall, several years ago, there used to be a year-end report that was kind of a summary of all of the accomplishments and functions of all the departments, and we've shifted away from that because a lot of that information is included in the budget. So now what we want to do is present this year-end financial report to avoid that duplication, but you know, tie this back to the budget that we adopted, and then also to maintain transparency and accountability for public funds. So some of our 2023 accomplishments, as you can see, there's a long list there. We had our construction, our road construction, 0.7 miles of roads. That included some water main and sewer work as well. We did coordinate with the DOT on the successful completion of that Highway 12 and Main Street resurfacing project. There were 3 loans from the Capital Catalyst Revolving Loan Fund. One was for Oak Tree Child and Family Services, which is now open, Little Hawks Academy 2, and then the Sweet Spot Bakery, which is the Langhoff on Main Street. So I was successful in those. We did implement our full-time fire and EMS department in 2023 with a service area of 18,500 people. That was a huge accomplishment. We increased our staffing in the police department to 22 sworn officers. We've been going back and forth between about 20 and 22 just because of retirements and resignations and hiring challenges. But we do have the capabilities of 22 sworn officers now, which has been really great for the city. We completed that interim market update, bringing us our assessment ratio back into compliance with state statutes. And I will, you know, I know there was skepticism, but when the assessed values increase, the mill rate does decrease and the tax rate remains generally about the same. And I think people did find that when they got their tax bills. So you can see this is just the mill rate breakdown per $1,000 of assessed value. And that mill rate went down substantially because the assessed values went up. So continuing on, we developed a transparent and effective process to fill a vacant city council seat. We held the city's first local government academy with UW Extension. We completed the city's first CORP, which is our comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, which allowed us to receive that stewardship grant for $100,000 from the DNR to support the Homerson's Pond project. Let's see, we established the park impact fees, parkland dedication, and the payment in lieu of parkland dedication. We designed our new Public Works and Parks Operations facility and also did some advocacy work for additional state shared revenue, which was approved through Act 12. And those first payments will be to the municipalities, including the city of Fort Atkinson in 2024. So the items we're going to go over tonight, these are outlined in the memo that was attached, that was in the packet too. We're just look at the 2023 taxes collected so far. We'll look at our general fund accounts, 15% over or under budget, and these are accounts with $5,000 or more budgeted in them. We'll look at the net estimated net increase to the general fund balance, and then take a look at estimated fund balances of all of our funds, and finally our carryover request to 2024. So just one big asterisk there at the bottom. The numbers, none of these numbers will be final until the 2023 audit is complete, and that will be presented to the council this summer, and it will be complete this summer. So taxes collected, the city levies taxes through collects the taxes, I should say. The city collects the taxes for all of the taxing jurisdictions that we have here. So there were more than $28 million of taxes levied in the city of Fort Atkinson in 2023 for 2024 budgets. Of that, as of 1/31/24, the city has collected $19,792,840, or 72% of that total. Second installments are due to the county by the end of July, and then that final settlement happens in August 2024. There's nothing concerning about this. This is pretty normal. I think the last couple of years we've been at 73% of the total right now, but this is nothing to be concerned of. This just also, that graph shows us the property tax distribution, just as Madison College is in yellow there, that receives roughly 3% of that whole of the big pie of taxes collected. Jefferson County receives about 15%, the city receives 32%, the school district receives 44%, and then our tax increment districts receive 6% for 2023. So we will talk a little bit about general fund revenues. These are accounts that were 15% over or under budget. And again, the accounts have to have a minimum of $5,000 budgeted in them. We have smaller accounts here and there that are over or under budget, but they don't get to that point. We have to cut it off at some point. But there were 2 accounts that were 15% more or more under budget, which is unrealized revenue, and then 10 accounts that were 15% or more over budget, which is surplus revenue. The total estimated revenue above what we budgeted was $456,000, and that is a lot. And I'll explain more in just a minute. You have this whole table in the packet, which you can maybe see a little bit better, but I'll just say the two accounts that were, under budget were parking violations and street maintenance. And the parking violations, that's just, we had fewer snow emergencies in 2023, fewer citations issued for that. And then street maintenance, the Public Works Department fills the holes made by water main breaks, and then the water utility pays them back. And so they just had fewer breaks. And then you can see the next set of numbers are the over-realized revenue. The items to note would be really that interest on general investment and the sale of city property. Those are the last 2 there. We budgeted $65,000 and we received $225,000. So that is due to an increase in investment rates, our local government investment pool, our PMA investments. And then I just have a note in there too, that our PMA investment, interest on that PMA investment in WISC that the council approved in 2022, that will be in a separate revenue account in 2024. And then the sale of surplus public works equipment. This was Tom and his crew going through all of our public works facilities. What do we need? What do we not need? What can we sell? And as most of you know, people will buy just about anything on Wisconsin surplus. So we were successful in selling a lot of the things that we did not need. We typically don't budget very much in that account just because we never know if there's going to be anything of value that we sell. So that's why that one. We did have an increase in number of building permits, and we also have a streamlined process now. Our electronic process for building permits is much easier. And I think that the building permit, all the fees stayed the same between 22 and 23. We just have improved processes and had more permits and more building, more improvements to properties. Okay, and then of course our court penalties and costs that we continue to use our state debt collection service to collect debts on those, which has been pretty successful. So now we have general fund expenditure accounts that are 15% over or under budget, and these again are accounts with a $5,000 minimum. So I didn't put the table in the PowerPoint here, but you do have that table in your packet to take a look at. There were 27 accounts that were 15% or more over budget, and those included some supply accounts. Notably, we had a wheel loader go down in early 2023, and that alone was $17,000, which is basically the difference in that account between what we budgeted and what we actually spent. We had some supply budgets and our trees and forestry budget and our park supply budgets. Those were over budget substantially, but a lot of that had to do with the storm repair. And some of that will be reimbursed, but not until 2024 through the Wisconsin Emergency Management or WEM grant for that emergency that happened. Other items, building maintenance and equipment maintenance in the police and fire departments. The police department building is aging. Some of our equipment is aging a little bit. So I think in the future, we might just need to budget a little bit more realistically in some of those areas. Let's see. But again, not a whole lot of concern there. Our total estimated expenditures under budget it was about $35,000. So, and this is probably over about $10 million of general fund expenditures. So that's a pretty solid budgeting when you net out the overs and the unders. But of course, when you bring in the revenue, the over realized revenue, we should have just about a $500,000 net increase to our general fund fund balance account. So, and again, that number will change. That will change subject to the 2023 audit. Okay, so then we have all of our fund balances. This is all of our year end estimated, again, fund balances of all the funds. I know you can't read that because it's very small, so we'll just take a look at. These are all of the funds with positive fund balances at the end of the year. Obviously, our general fund, our utilities, debt service, transportation fund. Our EMS fund was negative last year, but we had some grant that was realized in 2023. So that is now positive. Lodging, room tax cityscape, our business revolving loan fund, TIDS 7 and 8, library, capital catalyst, airport, ARPA funds, those are all have positive balances at the end of 2023. There are a couple with negative fund balances, our CIP fund, but that is just the timing of borrowing and reimbursing ourselves from borrowing. So that is not of any concern. TID 6, as we've talked about several times, is distressed. We do have a plan to pay that back through increment and its own increment plus donor TID funds. So we have a plan for that to be solvent, I think, by about 2027. Our taxi fund, again, that's timing of state and federal grant payments, why that will show negative at the end of 23. Our CDBG Lorman Fund, again, timing of the grant, and then eventually that will be reimbursed through the sale of the land. And TIDS 9 and 10 are both new TIDs, so we have all that creation cost that will be repaid during the life of the TIDs. So again, none of these funds represent a significant concern. Are there any questions on those things? I know I kind of cruised through those. Okay, we'll go to the table 5, which is our carryover request. So this is something that we do every year. We request that the city council authorize us to carry over funds in these specific accounts. Most of them are project-based accounts. We call them the 16 accounts. So these are items like the downtown corridor plan. We budgeted money for that, I believe in 22. And that has been a project that we've been slowly getting off the ground. So we're asking to carry that money over to 2024. I will also note that Engineer Sally did get some grants for that, for those planning efforts in 2023 as well. Our youth center concessions, there's money in that account. Money goes in, money goes out for the youth center. We don't want that to roll over into our fund balance. Some of these include donations for specific purposes, and we wouldn't want those donations for those specific purposes to roll over into our general fund balance at the end of the year. So other items in here, the Memorial Park Shelter, Homerson's Pond Shelter, the Homerson's Pond Project, those all have specific purposes. The Diamond Dirt, that is donations from various groups who use our fields, and that's where we pay for some of those, for some of the dirt that goes on the baseball diamonds there. So a lot of these are similar in nature. Their project lead, that was the project was the LED lights back in 2022. We had extra money in that that we intend to use on additional LED lights to be in the spirit of that project. But again, we wouldn't want that to roll over into our general fund because it does have a specific purpose. So that street cleaning account, that is that will be identified toward the leaf vac collection system that will be paid in 2024. So I would assume that this one would go away next year. And then we have some funds left in our borrowing from Banker Road when the city bought that land back in 2018. And then we also always have our retiree health and dental insurance in that as well. And then that last one is the senior center van, which again, may not be used to continue the senior center van, but it may be used for something similar in compliance with that original grant funding that was part of it. So I would be happy to answer any questions that the council has relating to 2023. Overall, I think it was a very good year. The audit will likely confirm that. Some of those numbers, I'm sure, will be a little bit different by the time they do all the journal entries and change things up. But I think there's reasons to feel very positive about the financial state of the city's general fund as well as our other funds that we have. The action item for this is that staff does request that the city council carry over that amount, which is on the agenda, I believe. It is $315,012.46 that we are requesting to carry over to 2024, and all of those are specifically listed in Table 5.
I would like to commend our city manager for her job on this. To manage that amount of money and come in under budget is stellar cool. It is well done.
Well, thank you. Fortunately, I don't have to do it all. I have a wonderful team of people, of the management team, all of our department directors, including our finance director, Michelle, who obviously assists in all of the collection of this information and the analysis of it, as well as all of our extremely fiscally conservative department directors. So thank you to everybody who contributes to this.
Well, I have noticed my time as a councilman has been 6 years, and I'm moving on to 2 more, but I have always noticed and appreciated that all of our department heads, if I was going to describe them with just a couple of words, it'd be cost conscious. They're all doing a great job making sure the city doesn't waste money.
I agree with all that. I appreciate the report and update once again. I will move to approve the 2023 funds requested to be carried over to 2024 as listed in Table 5 for a total of $315,000, $12.46.
Second.
Any further debate? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 11, claims, appropriations, and contract payments.
No, there's no subject.
Oh, yeah. This is the verified claims that are, I think we'll just wait to take action on that at the next one because it's not on the agenda. So we'll get that at the next meeting. My apologies for that.
Can I look for a roll call vote? Nobody.
Yep.
Hang on.
Yeah, that's my apologies. We'll get that on the next one.
I didn't notice it till now.
Yep, me neither.
Item 12, miscellaneous. The city council may consider a motion to convene in a closed session pursuant to state statute 19.851G, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation which it is or is likely to become involved.
I move to convene into a closed session pursuant to state statute section 19.851G to confer with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This is a roll call vote.
Councilman Becker?
Aye.
Councilman Jekyll?
Aye.
Councilman Lesko-Hare?
Aye.
Councilman Schultz?
Aye.
President Johnson?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries.